This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
How are you doing, sir? You doing all right?
I'm doing well. Enjoyed that unbelievable weekend of football.
Yeah, 2 different days, right? Like the first day is kind of like pulling teeth, ugly football, and then the next day it's like this glorious K-gun type day that everybody is just lighting it up like a Christmas tree and nobody can stop anybody. It was 2 different days. That's for damn sure. Before I get into that, I was just asked, do you agree with me that Cam Wake is a Ring of Honor guy, but he's probably going to be just on the outside looking in? Because if you look at Zach Thomas, as good as he is, it's a mission to get his ass in, and he's way better than Cam Wake. Cam Wake, right? You look at it the same way? Not really a Hall of Famer, but definitely a Ring of Honor guy?
I do. Maybe Cam Wake would have had a chance if he had begun his NFL career earlier. He, of course, began his career in Canada, and it took a few years and a few stops before he finally landed in the right place, which was right here in Miami. So, yeah, certainly an all-time Dolphins great, a Dolphins legend, but unfortunately not a Pro Football Hall of Famer.
I think if he was a nasty guy against the run and he had more tackles and maybe he came up with some interceptions and those kind of things, that might alter it a little bit. But he was kind of a one-dimensional type of defensive end. And so I think that that's also one of the things that kind of hurts him for Hall of Fame again, okay? He's a great player in Dolphin lore, dude. He belongs in the Ring of Honor. To me, the ultimate Cam Wake moment is the day he blew his Achilles. You know that, right?
I wasn't covering the team.
But
what happened?
I want you to go watch it. He blows his Achilles, and the son of a bitch keeps hopping towards the quarterback. That's the Cam Wake moment you need right there, bro. That's all you need to know about who Cam Wake is. Anybody else throws himself on the floor like you and me would, writhing in pain, holding our Achilles, going, oh my God, it's on fire. And the play's going on and we don't give a rat's ass. Not Cam Wake, bro. He blows his Achilles and the sumbitch is hopping towards the quarterback, still trying to get a sack.
He had an extraordinary competitive desire.
Yes.
Yes. He was motivated to be great. And
love that guy.
You wonder who on this current Dolphins team has that sort of dog in them. Who has
Christian Wilkins? Christian Wilkins plays like that all the day. Ogba played like that all the time this year, dude. Even when he wasn't getting the sacks early in the season, I kept saying how much I admire how he has played because he's not getting the sacks and he's not deterred. And his effort is Van Ginkel plays relentless, dude. I love how that guy plays. There's a couple of guys like that on this team.
Sealer.
Yeah.
In terms of motor and effort and a desire,
right.
Sealer can never rise to the level of a Cam Wake in terms of production.
Right.
But there are some dogs on defense. The Dolphins need more dogs on offense.
Yes, they do. Talk to me a little bit about the coaching search. I saw Breer put out there that if they don't get Dable or then Quinn, that Vance Joseph is the third option. Care to confirm, deny, agree, whatever with that report?
Well, it's hard to know unless you're, in direct conversation with owner Stephen Ross and or general manager Chris Grier. But I do think Vance Joseph is in the mix along with Dable and Quinn. Now, Dable is having a second interview with the New York Giants. Dan Quinn is said to be very high atop the Denver Broncos list. So if it's not Dable and it's not Quinn, where do they turn? Do they turn to Vance Joseph or Kellen Moore? I've also heard that they were very interested in speaking to Kellen Moore at the beginning of the process. I do not know how his interview went.
Any of those do anything for you? I mean, Dable's the only one out of that group really that I'm kind of interested in a way. I'm still a Jim Caldwell guy, but Dable would be the one guy out of all those guys. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, you would like to hire a coach that maybe other teams are excited about trying to hire, and Dable and Quinn certainly fit the criteria. You're hearing about some teams doing the second interviews, and I'm hearing that that won't necessarily be the case with the Dolphins, that they might have a list of guys that they like. And if it's not Dable and not Quinn, I understand what Breer is saying about Vance Joseph, because I have heard that he is well liked and respected within the organization, and obviously by Chris Grier.
Well, by the way, why would you interview Jim Caldwell twice? You know him. Why would you interview Vance Joseph twice? You know him. Why would you interview Brian Dable twice? You know him. So there are several guys that makes a lot of sense. What you're saying is they already know the guy, and now they bring him in for the interview. There's no reason to bring him in. Maybe a Mike McDaniel you bring in a second time. Some of these other guys that you don't know, but there are a couple guys on this list that there's already history with the people that are in place.
No,
So
that's a valid point. No matter what the job, there's usually a process by which you're, narrowed down to 2 or 3 finalists, and then you revisit just to kind of maybe hit on a few points that you didn't get to fully explore. But I've been led to believe that these interviews have been very thorough and very extensive. The Dolphins are taking their time in the process, and apparently also took their time with the candidates.
What do you think are the requirements here? What are they looking for? Do you know? Have you heard anything? I mean, I know it's kind of a not a fair question to put you in, because the guys at the top don't really talk to anybody. So you tell me.
I think I've been led to believe that it's the logical, common sense stuff, Big O. They're looking for someone who plays well with others. The people on this list have reputations as being, good guys. Based on what I know, I haven't heard anything to lead me to believe anything otherwise on any of these candidates.
Right.
They need to either have a plan to fix the offense, or the plan to fix the offense be they're going to fix it. They're going to fix the quarterback. They're going to fix the offense. So those are the 2 most important things. Everything else is kind of like, tertiary. What's your leadership style? What kind of a staff can you put together? What are, people that you've worked with have to say about you? But I mean, you got to fix the offense, and you got to mesh well with Chris Grier, which is why, a lot of these candidates, they have familiarity with, they have familiarity with Quinn, Joseph, and Dable. They've all been in the Dolphins facility before. This notion that the Dolphins are going to try to, run it back with people they know, right? You're not running it back with Flo, but you're running it back with Grier, Tua, and I guess it seems like there's a good chance they're going to bring someone back into the building. Is that, the best?
Bring, like, who are you talking about? But who's the other people you're talking about bringing back in the building? You're talking about some of the coaches that were on that staff?
Quinn, Joseph, and Dable have all worked for the Dolphins before.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying. Yeah,
get the band back together concept.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Omar brought up something interesting, because I'm not a Vance Joseph guy. I don't trust him as a head coach, because there's no track record. So I don't even know if he can build a staff. If he got a Caldwell to be his assistant head coach / offensive coordinator, then I can actually go for something like that. That's what I worry about with the Vance Josephs of the world, those kind of coaches. I don't even know if they can build staffs. And you mentioned it, fixing the offense is the number 1 problem right now on the team. And obviously, if you hire Vance Joseph, there has to be some kind of a plan for the offense.
Yeah, and I think one of the things the Dolphins are looking for, and this is just kind of obvious, is positive energy, and that means energy. So if you look at Quinn, Vance Joseph, and Dable, they're all noted as good dudes, but they do also seem to have a little, spit and vinegar behind them, a little bit of energy and fire, and I think that's important. You don't want. I didn't cover Joe Philbin, but he didn't seem to be the kind of guy that could inspire anybody. It seems like Quinn, Joseph, and Dable, maybe they can inspire somebody.
No, I'm with you there. All right. So what'd you think yesterday of first of all, let's go with Saturday. What'd you think of Tannehill and his performance on Saturday?
Yeah, obviously a disappointing performance if you're a Titans fan or a friend or family member of Ryan Tannehill. He did not come through in the same way so many other quarterbacks did this weekend.
Did obviously, I know you're not a Tua believer. So did Saturday convince you Tua could do something that maybe Ryan can't, or did Sunday convince you that Tua will never be able to do what you saw on Sunday, so he can't be the competitor that you expect him or he should be for the Dolphins?
Look, we really enjoyed watching Sunday's football games. It was thrilling. It was exciting. It was fun. I mean, it was, but of course, as a Dolphins fan, you're sitting there thinking, my gosh, how are we going to beat these guys? They're young and they're so talented. I mean, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen and Joe Burrow on Saturday and Justin Herbert. I mean, those four quarterbacks are so good and so talented.
Well, but Herbert hasn't done anything. We can't put him in that category. Let's not let.
So if you're going to win with Tua, you know, and I heard a portion of your segment with Omar. Of course, you have to try to win in a different way. It's a different formula. I mean, look, we can sit here and say, gosh, we wish we had Josh Allen. We wish we had Patrick Mahomes. We wish we had Joe Burrow. But we don't, and the Dolphins don't, so they're going to try to make the best of the situation. That's what they're doing here. And they're going to try to make it work in 2022. And if they can't, then they'll just go ahead and have to draft another quarterback in 2023.
How active do you expect them to be on the offensive line?
Yeah, definitely. I would be very surprised if the Dolphins didn't add one or two well-paid and perceived to be solid veterans. I did find it interesting that Joe Burrow got sacked 9 times. He had Isaiah Prince starting at right tackle, and yet he got up off the mat and found a way to win. Now, I know, he threw for 300 yards, and some people say, well, he wasn't that good. And, well, that's true. I don't think he threw a touchdown, but
no touchdowns.
Gosh, Joe Burrow. I mean,
he's
I know
terrific,
you can't go back in time, but we all have to admit it would be so fun and so exciting and so inspirational.
They had no shot at him. That's not in the discussion. They didn't have a shot at Joe Burrow.
Well, we can, of course, just sit here and regret and lament and wish.
Oh, okay. Then I'll regret Joe Montana, and I'm going to regret Johnny Unitas.
There was a path to Joe Burrow.
I'm going to regret Teddy Bradshaw, and I'm going to regret it. So I start regretting.
Brian Flores went against the path by sticking with Ryan Fitzpatrick. That eliminated any chance to lose. I would have liked to have seen. Would you have liked to have seen?
I'm not a Flores fan, but tanking is not an option in anything in life, dude. That's just not. You don't tank in your job. I don't tank in my job. Football players, you can't expect them to walk on the field and say, well, I'll act like a matador today and not tackle.
No, I didn't ask him to tank the whole season. I would have liked to have seen the 22-year-old quarterback that you traded for in the final 2 games. Brian Flores, who you do not like, told me that I'm not in the trenches. I don't have to stand in front of the room and explain why he told me that. You're not in the trenches. You're not the guy that has to stand in front of the room and explain why I'm playing Josh Rosen. In my opinion, you should have stood in front of the room and said, guys, we traded for a 22-year-old quarterback. I know he throws a lot of interceptions in practice, and I know he hasn't been very good when he's gotten a chance to play. But, this is, as an organization, it's in the best interest of the organization. See, he was worried about the best interest of Brian Flores.
Players. He didn't want to lose the locker room. That's what it is.
But all those guys are gone. Almost all those guys are gone anyway.
Yeah, I get it. But I can't blame a coach for trying to win, bro. It's on his resume too. So I kind of understand that. All right, before I let you go, Sean Payton. What are we looking into here? Because apparently he hasn't committed, and boy, that he hasn't been a meddler in the personnel department. He's allowed all those guys in the personnel department to actually do their job, and he's done the job of coaching the team. And in a way, that philosophically, that's something that fits with what you want here. Now, I'm getting way ahead of myself. I don't even know if he wants to retire, leave, go to another team. I have no idea. But, man, that's the guy Tua needs. So I'm just saying, your thoughts on this crazy story, and are there any legs to it whatsoever?
Yeah, I mean, that would be a slam dunk hire, obviously, if you have a chance to hire a superstar all-star coach like Sean Payton.
You traded for Shula and traded for Riley, so the history is here in this club.
A lot of folks think that if Sean Payton were to go anywhere else, it would be Dallas. And so that would be, a concern. And of course, or Las Vegas. So, are you third in the pecking order there? I don't know if Sean would want to live in.
I don't know. Maybe you're first, bro. Why would you want to work for Jerry and then go to that crazed place right now in Las Vegas where that corner got arrested again? It's like, oh my God! You wonder how many more characters did they draft in that team that are, wow. I mean, so maybe we're not so bad compared to those two places. So nothing.
It's interesting to see who becomes available, who shakes free, who gets hired late in the process. Sometimes those coaches that get hired later in the process work out. You don't always have to pull the trigger first. It'll be interesting to see. Did the Giants pull the trigger on Dable right away with Joe Shane, the former Dolphins executive? Somehow these all intertwine with Dolphins people.
I keep telling you.
So does George
personnel?
I know. Look at that. Joe Shane in Buffalo might hire a former Dolphins offensive coach, and George Payton, right? George,
another Dolphin,
might hire a former Dolphins assistant in Dan Quinn. What if all four of those people have Dolphins ties? It's just.
I keep explaining to people, whether it's Patton, whether it's Shane, whether it's Hickey, who works with Shane in Buffalo. He's the national guy. Ireland has been fantastic in New Orleans. Rick Spielman did a hell of a job in New Orleans, in Minnesota. He just couldn't figure out the quarterback spot. But dude, he built some offenses and some defenses I would rather have the last 10 years of the Vikings than the last 10 years of the Dolphins. Way better. Okay. So that's why I keep telling people, if you look at our history in the last 25 years, the personnel people all move on to have success. All the head coaches, they're all dead in the water, dude. None of them have ever gone on to do anything whatsoever. Yet every personnel guy we've had in place is succeeding somewhere else, doing something else.
And there have been a lot of free agents signed by Mike Tannenbaum, Chris Grier, Adam Gase, Brian Flores, who didn't go on to have any success anywhere else either. So we got to get more things right, Big O. More things right. We got to get more draft picks right, more free agent decisions right, more head coaching decisions right, and more offensive coordinators right. Let's get it more right. That's our mission for 2022.
Let's hope so. What are you working on the Palm Beach Post so Dolph fans can check you out, my man?
I want to take a look back at the Jalen Waddle trade. It's quite unfortunate for the Dolphins that they're now looking at a pick 29 to 32. The difference between 15, where they would have picked, and 29 to 32 is almost a second round pick. Now, obviously, Chris Grier didn't know when he made the trade that the Niners would be in the Final Four of the NFL.
He also didn't know his dumbass coach would go 1-7 to kind of ruin the chance to get in the playoffs. So make sure
the regular season records weren't all that far apart. And I understand Chris Grier's thought that, I have confidence in my team and that I'm going to win a lot of games. But unfortunately, when you're sitting there saying, wow, I could have had Jamar Chase and the 15th pick, or Jalen Waddle, the 29th pick, and let's say the 16th pick in a future draft, you wouldn't make that trade. I mean, you wouldn't.
No, of course not.
You wouldn't.
No, of course.
Thank you for agreeing with me.
No, yeah, definitely not. It's just the bigger screw up for Chris Grier was the hiring of Brian Flores. So he better fix that next. He better get the right coach. Follow him on Twitter. Huh?
I hope so.
He better. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. He won't be here long if he doesn't get it right. Follow him on Twitter at Schad Joe. And more importantly, folks, subscribe to the Palm Beach Post. Okay. Support Joe and all the great writers over there. Joe, have a fantastic week. We'll catch you in a couple of days, my friend.
Thanks, bud. Take care.
You got it. There you go. Joe Schad. And you might see more of Joe Schad also. I don't know if he knows that yet, but you might.
This is the Big